the truth.
Welcome back, everyone, to episode 3 of the No Limit Podcast. We have a very special guest today. He is the CEO of Simple Trading. He has funded over $600,000 and had some crazy trading days, some surplus over $63,000. So I'm really excited to get him on this podcast. Everyone, please welcome RALF VERDE.
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I want to thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, bro. Thank you so much for being here. So once again, guys, me and Ralph have not really got to talk a lot before. We both follow each other on Instagram, and I've seen his success, and he's a really great trader, guys. He's well versed in the trading world, so I'm really excited to get him on here to ask him some really good questions. And I think a lot of you guys in the audience will really like some of his answers. So I'm going to leave his links in the description. So make sure you guys check him out because he's a really good trader. And once again, I've loved your success so far and watching your story. So
thank you, man. Likewise.
And once again, so I haven't gotten to talk to him a lot. So I'm really excited to ask you some questions myself. As
Definitely.
a fan. So first off, I just wanted to kind of ask your background. Like, where are you even from and how old are you?
Right. So now I'm 23 years old. I was born in Cuba and I moved here to the US when I was 5. So in the beginning, it was a little bit tough because I didn't speak English. I spoke Spanish and it was a little bit rough to get used to. But, since I came at such a young age, it kind of clicked. So yeah, I came when I was 5 from Cuba and I'm 23 at the moment.
That's awesome. Then where are you living right now?
I'm in Orlando now.
Oh, sweet. In
From Miami. I'm in Orlando because of law school. So I'm a law student.
Oh, yeah, you're a law student. That's so awesome, guys. Once again, well-versed in the trading world and the law world. This is awesome, guys.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit into that and stuff. But
definitely.
Now I kind of wanted to ask, like, what kind of first introduced you to trading? Like, how did you hear about it?
Man, so I first heard about Forex. So first I saw crypto, right? I feel like everyone saw crypto 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
And then, but I didn't really trade like crypto at all. I was just buying and holding. And then I had a friend of mine who introduced me to basically Forex through IML. Pretty sure you've heard of them. Yeah. It's like literally I got called. I'm like, hey, there's this great opportunity. You should come check it out. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I've always been like very into like business and like finding ways to make money somehow. Like, I was hustling, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm all in. Let's go. And I went to this seminar and I did start the program the first month, but then I quickly realized that it was all just like, so they wanted me to bring other people on. And I just, that wasn't like my thing. I wanted to be trading. And that's the least, like, I didn't do that at all. Basically.
Yeah. It's all recruitment based.
But then again, I want to like thank IML because that introduced me to Forex and then I got into it.
Dude, shout out IML.
I found that. Honestly,
I feel like everyone has to shout out IML here and there. You hear from multiple traders because it really 100%. Did introduce so many people to the game and stuff. But kind of, did you like while you're in IML, was there a certain thing kind of like you learned, or was it not until after that you kind of had to figure out your strategy and find success?
Yeah, no, I did not find success at first at all. So a little bit of background. So I feel like when it comes to trading, there's two types of people, right? There's the person that's introduced to trading and has like that gambler mentality. And then there's that person that's introduced to trading and it's like I guess like they're born for this, right? They're like super calm. They don't want to lose money. I was the gambler guy. I honestly, like when I saw Forex, I saw like money bags, right? And I didn't know anything at all. Like if you looked at my chart while I was in IML, like don't get me wrong, I was learning, but it was like, those memes that you see of the charts with the like 10,000 indicators.
Oh yeah, that's yours.
Bro, that was my chart. 100%.
Yeah.
And then again, it's like I had that gambler's mentality where I just wanted to make money, right? And I ended up losing a lot of money. So I was not profitable for the first like 3.5 years, which is crazy. Yeah, and it's all because of that mentality too.
Yeah, no, completely. Never, not everyone gets it right off the bat. It's kind of a hard journey. We all, as we know. But kind of leading off of that, how many months or years or like what year was it that you started? Did you say?
So I started in 2017, so about 6 years ago.
Okay, cool.
And so started with crypto. That same year, I did the IML thing. And then I got into Forex trading. But so I kind of made a video about this. And I feel like I had different stages, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I got to the realization phase 1.5 to 2 years ago, which is that's when I really realized what trading was about. Because the first 3 or 4 years was like gambling. Like I can't even tell you it was really trading.
Yeah.
So I'm being completely honest. It was gambling. I was not doing technical analysis. I worked at a trucking company, right? And I was making like $500 a week. Every single time I had $1,000, I would put it into an account and blow it in that same day. Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. But that's so going back to my original point, there's people that like have a certain mentality that won't allow them to do that. You know what I mean? They're like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm not gonna, spend the money I've worked for and just blow it all in one day, right?
Yeah.
But that's where the two different types of people come in. So if like a new trader comes in and they have that gambling mindset, it's going to take them way longer to get rid of that and turn it into like a business mindset when it comes to trading.
Yeah. Do you remember
100%.
what your first deposit was, or like kind of what you kind of started with?
I think it was like $500 on
Oh,
Hugo's
yeah.
Way. It was
Yeah, shout out Hugo's Way, dude.
It
Dude, yeah.
was like $500 and I lost it that same day.
It's so
Bro,
crazy
it's
how
sad.
similar
It's
stories
sad.
everyone, kind of has same brokers, same kind of stories started out and all type of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what's so fun about getting to meet, different traders and hearing kind of how they got to start and then relate to them, you know what I'm saying? But
Right. 100%.
in your opinion, what kind of was your turning point when you started kind of gaining, you started in 2017. When did you feel like you
Right.
really started gaining profitability?
So, okay. So my turning point, believe it or not, I started law school 2 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know this at first. I was trading, but it wasn't really like, it was like on and off, right? Before I started law school, it was more on and off. And I was a little bit into crypto. I was a little bit into Forex. It was like all over the place, not really focused, right? But when I start law school, I get a loan, right? So I have student loans for the actual school, but on top of that, they gave me back 12 grand for that one semester, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get this money, and then my girl's like, "Oh yeah, that we'll have this money, for the rent, and we'll be secured for X amount of." Well, I get the 12 grand and I put it into a Robinhood account. I
Okay.
kid you not, bro. And I started doing options trading with
Mm-hmm.
that money that I had gotten from the school to basically like maintain myself, I guess you could say. I was working and I am working still a job. I'm also trading and I'm also in school. But during that time, I was pretty much broke,
Yeah.
right? So I get the 12K, deposit into Robinhood, start trading options. In less than 3 months, I had 250K. So yes, crazy. I turned the 12,000 into 250K trading options in 3 months, right? So that like completely
Did you trade
changed
options before
everything.
that?
No. That was the first time I got into options trading. I started watching YouTube videos, just doing like research. And the way I would do it, like I wouldn't day trade it. What I would do is I would look at a stock, right? And I would say, okay, so they have this coming up, like when the whole Lucid and the electric car companies and all that stuff
We're
were popping.
pumping. Yeah.
Yeah, I that's where I made a lot of the money. I made like 150K on one of the electric car companies, and it was because I did a long-term option, like I bought long-term option contracts,
Mm-hmm.
and bro, like they came out with news and it went up. Oh, it was crazy. It
Oh
was crazy.
my
So that changed
gosh.
everything for me. And then from there, I had a buddy of mine who was doing Forex. I wasn't doing Forex at the time, like full time. And
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "Hey, bro, have you checked out the funding companies?" And I was like, "I have no idea what that is." So I do some more research. And okay, so here's the thing with funding companies. I feel like for me, as long as they're around, they may not be around for long,
Yeah.
right? You never know because of
Mm-hmm.
how it works. But as long as they're around, I will not risk my own capital. And once I found the funding companies, I was like, you know what? Let me take my money, no more risk, and I'll start doing Forex. Because another thing about options is that like when you trade options, it's not only predicting the price, you're also going against like theta and all the Greeks that go against you. So you know how that works more or less, or you've never traded options?
I'm kind of familiar with that, like the theta game, all that
Yeah.
type of stuff, but I'm not to this point where I want to go and trade options myself.
No, no, I feel like Forex is 100% easier than options for
Yeah.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to do one thing, and that's predict where price is going to go,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's the only thing we have to do. If it takes 2 weeks to get there, that's fine. We're not going to lose money if price doesn't move. And with options, if you say this stock is going to go up and you buy calls and it stays like stagnant for a month, you'll lose, like even if price stays at the same place,
Mm-hmm.
right? So once I saw the funding companies, I was like, you know what? This is the move. Took out my money from Robinhood and I started doing the My Forex Funds challenge. And I actually have a crazy story about that.
Go into it, yeah.
So the first account that I get is a 300K account. That's
Mm-hmm.
when the 300K accounts were just starting off in My Forex Funds. They were like, it was
Yeah.
like a test that they did. So I got the 300K account. I passed it. First account ever. I passed it, right? I get my account I made 54K in a week, and then I ended up blowing my account the next Monday
For the
completely.
daily drawdown.
Yeah, daily
So you were
drop.
still
I traded
profitable.
US 30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I did US 30, and there was news, and the slippage, I lost like 20K. So they took out my whole account. They didn't give me anything from the 54. And that was a big lesson, though. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
everything that's happened to me in the past, I've taken it and turned it into like a lesson so that in the future it doesn't happen again. And I feel like that's one very important thing that you need to have, especially in trading.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna make mistakes regardless. That's a dumb mistake, but if I didn't make that mistake, maybe I would have made that mistake later on, and I'd
Yeah.
rather avoid it. Because now we learn.
I always say that. Yeah, trial and
Yeah,
error to me, in my opinion, is something that's so
100%.
important because that's how you're not going to learn how to win if you didn't lose. You know what I'm saying? You're not
Exactly.
going to learn.
100%.
Yeah, as in, you can, you know what I'm saying? Like you can like try all these ways and be like, all right, well, I can't do this because I want to be profitable, this type of stuff. Like at the end of the day, you're going to learn the best by learning what's wrong with what you're doing because then you can tweak
Exactly.
it and sample size and make sure that it'll work out for you in the, in the future. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way you're going to progress and become profitable is you actually figure out what you're doing wrong, kind of tweak it
And
so
you
that you
fix
can,
it.
yeah, exactly. So
100%.
yeah, but that's like
100%.
that's a crazy story, in
Yeah,
my
bro.
opinion. So was it because you got introduced to IML and Forex before the options trading, but then
Right.
then you just ran it up on options. Did you
I just
find
ran it up.
similarities like how do you like I feel like a lot of people are really just interested in the chat that are just like how did you find like similarities that helped you like go back and forth
Between
between
options
options and
and
like
Forex.
Forex?
So in terms of like technical analysis, in a way, it was very similar. Obviously, like with Forex, I got way more in depth on like my technical analysis, my strategy, and all of that. It's kind of different,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like again, Forex is 100% like 100 times way easier than options.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like coming into Forex, I was like, you know what? If I was able to kill it here, I'm gonna go back to Forex, which is what I know from 2017. I'm gonna really put the work in, and I'm gonna be able to do the same here. And honestly, that's exactly what happened. Like, don't get me wrong, that first challenge, I was up 54K in 1 week. I blew it. I felt horrible. I was like, wow, I can't believe I didn't wait and just get the payout, right?
Yeah.
But then I continued trying and I was able to get it. That second challenge I failed. The third challenge, I did two 300K accounts and I was able to get it then. And then I just started being more consistent and being more conservative,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that loss, that 20K loss that ended up basically, ruining my account, taught me that I needed to be more careful with my risk because now there's rules. When I was doing options, there weren't any rules. I could be in drawdown 30K and it didn't matter, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So here it was like, all right, now I got to follow these rules. And believe it or not, I feel like the funding companies in general gave me what I needed to like be consistent and be profitable. And what I mean by that is it's like when you have someone telling you you can't do this, this, and this because you'll fail the challenge, then you kind of like you force yourself, this is what I got to do.
Yep.
And without those rules, I probably wouldn't have been successful long term because realistically, that 3 months of options trading was more luck than anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really like me putting in the work and everything like that. It was actually more luck than anything. So what really taught me to be consistent was the funding companies because otherwise I wouldn't have any guidance, right? I would have been going crazy. I would have been doing degenerate plays and it would have
Yeah.
been horrible. Those 250K would have been gone.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Real quick, trying to flip accounts
yeah,
like that. No, but that
exactly.
that is great.
Yeah.
In like, did you have a certain strategy that you were doing?
Yeah. Wait, for Forex or
Yeah, like even when at the beginning when you just once
yeah.
again you went from making 250K in options
Yeah.
trading, came over to Forex, and you said you ran it up you got a 300K account,
300K
made
account. Yeah.
54K. Was there
In
like a
1 week.
certain strategy
So
that you were
I
using?
was doing breakouts at the time.
Okay.
So I trade pure price action,
Mm-hmm.
like no indicator. The only indicator I have is the 50 SMA,
Mm-hmm.
SMMA. So I have the smooth and just pure price action.
Yeah.
And I was doing that before. I was doing breakouts of certain levels, always doing the 1 to 3, 1 to 4. But like I was being consistent, but at the same time, that first account, 54K in a week, was not the type of trading I wanted to have because my risk was not there, right?
Mm-hmm.
My risk management was crazy.
Yeah.
So that's why I was able to make so much. Like I was risking 3-4% per trade and they were going my way, which is great. But then again, long term, I realized that that's not the way to go.
Mm-hmm. So you're still funded 600K right now. Is the same
Right.
600K that you started like you?
No, No,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't the same one. I ended up losing those accounts after getting a few payouts. Then I had to go through the whole process again.
Did you do it your first try, or did you take a couple times to
Yeah,
get them
I took a
again?
couple times to get him again. Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's I feel like there's periods, and that even happens to me where it's like I'm doing everything the same, but all the trades are going against you.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through a losing streak. So my thing is risk 1% per trade, because that way you have 12, you have to lose 12 trades in a row to lose your account, right?
Mm-hmm.
I literally lost more than 12 trades in a row,
Oh
which is
yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was bad,
Yeah.
right?
And I think that's something
But
important, for people to hear, just because, you
yeah,
found success, and people once again are right now going through those type of hardships, and they kind of, I think it's good that they hear that, like, you went through the similar
exactly.
ones, losing
I
12
feel
trades in a row,
like
like it happens.
it happens. But you know what though? When it was going on, I feel like trading is all psychology, right? So
Mm-hmm.
while I was losing, I was already negative going into the next trade. Even though I've been trading for all those years and I've made money and all that stuff, once I had like 4 or 5 losses in a row, those other losses, I feel like were like I did that to myself, because I was going into that trade already being negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And thinking, oh man, what if it stops me out? That's a 6 loss. And you kind of like psych yourself out, where the best thing to do at that point was to literally take a break, 1 week, 2 weeks, and then just that's what I would do, right? I would take a break, relax, come back, and then try again.
Mm-hmm.
But I just kept going at it every single day. I stopped following my risk management in terms of like the max amount I'm supposed to lose per week, because I was trying to make it all back. And it all comes down to the same thing. It's all psychology, and it's literally you versus you in
Yeah.
trading.
Yeah.
That's the way
100%.
I see it. 100%.
Yeah. So not to, like, once again, I'm not making you like share your screen and go over
No,
strategy and
it's all
everything,
good. All good. All
but
good.
if, in a couple words, like, what do you think
Yeah.
you kind of look out for if you had to talk about your strategy
So
currently?
right now, currently, it's a break and retest or a breakout, and it depends, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like looking for different setups, but mostly on the higher time frames, I just map out my key levels, wait for a level to break, wait for a retest, rejection, enter,
And yeah,
and that's it.
yeah, that's
Honestly, it's
pretty.
that simple. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I'm simple trading like that too.
literally simple
Yeah.
trading, bro. That's it. And again, I actually tell that to the people in my community a lot. It's like, listen, guys, everybody asks me every time they join the community, like, oh, I need to see your strategy. And it's I understand that, but it's not the strategy. I can use
Yeah.
any strategy. If, like, let's say right now you tell me your strategy and I copy it to the T. If I don't have good risk management and risk to reward and a like good psychology, I will fail and you will be profitable.
Yep.
That's how it works. You get
100%.
me? So I think more important than the strategy is risk to reward, risk management, and how you feel like mentally about trading that day or that week or whatever.
Hmm.
That's the most important part.
Yeah.
100%.
In my opinion, when it comes to breakouts, I feel like it's kind of hard to get a good risk to reward. So I feel like I've watched a couple of your videos, and you kind of preach risk
Yeah.
to reward a lot. So it's not something you
Yeah.
kind of stick
100%.
that you really preach to everyone, is go for that risk to reward.
Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like risk to reward is super important. I like having at least a 1 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because I felt like that's what's worked best for me in terms of like being successful long term. So I don't see it as like, oh, I made money today and tomorrow. I'm looking at it like, in this year, what did I do? Right.
Yeah.
In these 6 months, what did I do? So if you have a good risk to reward and you manage your risk accordingly, then over time, you're going to be profitable if you continue doing that every single time.
Yeah.
The times where I've messed up and lost my account is when I go crazy and instead of following my risk management plan, I start risking 2-3%. And that's where everything fails, because so the way I like to think about it is like this. If I risk 3%, 2% in one trade and I lose, then I go back to risking 1% and I win, it's not going to make sense,
Yeah.
right?
Not at all.
So you need to be, if you follow that 1% every single time, then that's going to make sense long term, because again, you can lose a few trades, but then you win a few and you made back everything and much more, right?
100%.
So I feel like that's very important for beginner traders as well.
Mm-hmm.
And just in general, that's probably the most important thing I preach to all the people in my community.
Yeah, 100%. So if you don't mind me asking, like, what do you think your
Yeah.
biggest trading day was?
Biggest trading day was close to 70K,
Mm-hmm.
and it was on GJ. Bro, GJ is like the plug.
Yeah.
So I like gold a lot, right?
Yeah.
I love gold, but gold just like kills me every time, bro.
Yeah. It can
I go to
happen.
GJ and make back what I lose on gold.
Yeah,
Literally
exactly.
every time.
That's
So
crazy.
GJ, I made close to 70K. and that was divided between two accounts. So it was like 30 something K in each. And since I have two funded accounts, it made up to 70K.
Okay.
So that was
And
probably the craziest, like the best day that I've had
was
for
it
sure.
one trade or was it a couple
Yeah, it was
trades?
one trade. One trade.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. One trade,
Yeah.
70K.
Yeah. It was
That
nice.
that's crazy.
It was a
So
good feeling. Yeah.
yeah, it's a great feeling. So I think that one important thing to kind of talk about is actually how you're able to handle that trade mentally. Because at the end of the day, holding a trade
It's tough.
70K, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people
Yeah.
would pull out early, you know what I'm saying? Once they're starting
So,
to see these high numbers, they want to take that money. So how were you able to
right.
hold that 70K? And then, you know, when it came to closing, how did you determine when you were going to close and all that?
Right. So I actually have a friend of mine, right, who he started trading recently, and he's always like, we're always I'm helping him out. Hey, look, check this out, check that out. And he tells me all the time, he's like, oh, bro, I'm up already $500. I got to close. And I'm like, bro, hold the trade.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, hold the trade, right? Because the way I like to do it is before I enter a trade, I go to TradingView and I set up my, like, where it shows your entry, stop loss, and take profit.
Mm-hmm.
I set that up beforehand. And the way I determine my take profit is based on the previous levels of support or resistance, depending on what I'm looking for, right? So that trade in particular, I had set up my take profit at that level. And in my head, I was like, you know what? I knew how much I was going to make already. Once it got to that level, I'm going to wait it out. And don't get me wrong, when I was at 40K, 50K, 60K, I was like, damn, should I close? But I was like, you know what? Let me just let it do what it's going to do. And
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
Yeah.
Another thing I like doing is once I'm at a 1-to-1, and this also depends big time on what like I'm trading and the volatility and if there's any news and a bunch of things. But I like once I'm at a 1-to-1, I put my stops to break even
Mm-hmm.
just to be like secure. I'm like, you know what, risk-free trade, I'll take it all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that also depends on my stop loss, how many pips it is, and stuff like that. But for the most part, at a 1-to-1, stop loss to break even right away.
Yeah. That's good risk management. Is there a
Yeah.
certain session you trade?
I like trading US, but I also trade London every so often. It
Mm-hmm.
just depends on my schedule. I like London a lot because GJ moves a lot during London. And again, I like GJ, but there's some days where I have to wake up early for school and all this stuff. So I just prefer trading US.
Mm-hmm. How is that handling school and trading right now?
It's not bad, to be honest with you. It could be a lot worse, but it's not bad. Right now I'm working, I'm trading, I'm trying to make videos. It's just a lot to handle at once.
Yeah, it's a
Trying to keep
lot.
the community going, and then also in law school, but it's not bad. It's not as bad as it seems, to
Where are
be
you
honest.
where are you working right now?
I'm still doing trucking right
Oh,
now. I have two
nice.
trucks of my own that I'm moving, and then so it's I've been doing trucking since I was 14. So
That's so crazy, bro.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's one thing in the trading industry that gets really not like a bad rep, but a lot of people don't do is they think that if you're like a trader making this money that you just need to be a full-time trader and not have,
no, not at
you
all.
know, guys. So like once again,
Yeah,
this is a really good example of someone who's milked well over hundreds of thousands of dollars from the
right.
market and is still working full-time and going to school, you know, studying law, which is not an easy degree to get. So once again, congratulations to you. That's really motivating. So
Thank you, man.
yeah.
I feel like as many sources of income as you can have. I feel like we limit ourselves to what we can do.
Hmm.
And if you think that, trading alone is enough, I feel like trading takes up maybe an hour of my day at most, right?
Hmm.
What takes up more of my day is probably like the community and all this stuff. But then again, trading itself, if people are going to trade alone, it takes up what, 1 or 2 hours at most.
Yeah.
So you have the rest of the day. Even if you're making 100K per day, you can still be doing other things, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way I like to look at it. Like, I don't limit myself to just one thing when I have the time and, the energy now that I'm young to do all these things that I
Yeah.
want to do.
100%,
So
bro. There's no limits to it, you know. That's why.
no limit. There we
Yeah,
go.
exactly. That's how we do it, bro. Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's great to
no
hear.
limit.
And once again, it's really motivating because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't think that same way. They want to trade, make fast
Right.
money, make the type of money you've made, and then just kind of call it quits and go kind of
And
travel
live
that type of
the
stuff.
trader
Yeah,
lifestyle, right?
exactly. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's really motivating that you're
Yeah.
once again trucking, law school, and full time trading. So
Yeah.
do you do it every single morning, Monday through Friday?
Well, I don't trade on Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to do Monday through Thursday for the most part. If I see a nice setup on Sunday night for London, maybe, but I like Monday through Thursday the most. Friday, I just stay away, relax,
Yeah.
and just take a break.
Yeah, which is nice sometimes, you know,
Yeah,
taking a
for
break is
sure.
important.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
so we've talked a lot about like your successes in trading and stuff. I wanted to kind of ask if there's any like really like big trading losses or really like lessons that
Yeah,
you went through that people,
a
you know,
hundred
want to
percent.
hear. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we all have those, but I'm going to tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Big losses, not so much, but they were big at the time that they happened, right? So when I first started trading those first 3 years, I lost a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
which maybe now to me is not that much, but back then it's like all I had,
Yeah.
right? I was doing Uber Eats in my Camaro. So
Yeah.
that's how you know it was bad, bro. Like it
Yeah.
was really bad in the beginning. And
Yeah. That's
so,
crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. So part of that was the losses, the consistent losses in Forex. And it got to the point, I'm going to be honest with you, where I was like, you know what, this is a scam. It's always going against me, because that's what people think, right?
Yeah.
Every time I get in the trade,
It's
the market
manipulated.
comes and yeah. And don't get me wrong, like sometimes there is manipulation, but it's not because of you. It's because it just happens, right? It's not like targeting you on only you. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You think they care about my $1,000 when I put it in? They don't care.
As your
You know what I
broker
mean?
food. Yeah, you're just broker food.
Exactly. So I did lose a lot in the beginning. They weren't big losses, but they were big at the time because I was literally broke. And every time I made money, it would go into Hugo's way and then come right out that same day, bro. It was sad. It was
Damn,
sad.
dude, just putting it
Yeah,
in. So was
it
it
was
after
sad.
kind of the 250K that you started kind of doing better?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah, for
Okay.
sure, for sure. Once I made the 250, it just like something clicked where I was like, okay, so now I have money. Now I can put this money away. Now I'm really gonna focus and do this the right way, because I know there's money to be made, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you go on Instagram and YouTube and all this stuff, you see a lot of success, but once you actually get that success is when you realize, wow, this is actually real. It's actually possible. If I put in the work, I could make this my full-time job. And
Yeah.
that's where that's where it really clicked for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it made sense to be trading, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I saw it for myself.
Yeah, and it was benefited you in your life, and it was kind of working out.
100%. Yeah, it changed my life completely, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I went from zero to a $12,000 loan to 250K in 3 months. And I was like, what is this?
Wait, say it one more time. It started what?
No, I had zero. I was broke. They
Yeah.
gave me 12K and then turned that into 250 in literally
Yeah.
3 months.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Investing at that time
Insane.
was booming. 2019,
Yeah.
2020, was that around that time, right?
That was around 2020.
Yeah, 2020. Yeah,
Like
when the
mid
stuff was kind of
2020.
popping off.
Yeah. Everything was going crazy at that time.
Yeah, it was a green market, bro. Everything was
Yeah.
going up. Yeah,
Yeah.
but once again, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because a lot of people have really good success stories, and then there's the hardships. And a lot of people right now are going through those hardships during their journey.
Yeah.
So it's important to kind of hear it from someone who's kind of in a position that a lot of people kind of want to be in, that they've gone through similar things, and that you were broke at a time and then were able to turn your life around.
I had years of losing money to get to the point that I'm at today. And to be honest with you, there's a few things that I did in the first 3 years when I was losing money that I completely switched up in these last year and a half, 2 years. And that has to do, so I'm going to be completely open. When I first started trading Forex, I would join signal groups. Check this out. This is how toxic my my trading/gambling addiction was. Right?
Yeah.
I would join signal groups and expect them. Obviously, I'm like, you know what? I'm paying $50 per month. They have to be right. So I would get that first. I'll be going crazy waiting for that first signal. They send the signal and I would go all in on that one signal. And then obviously I would end up losing and I'd be like, oh man, I got to find someone else and continue that cycle. And I see a lot of that still today.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of people joining these signal rooms, and I'm not against them at all.
Yeah.
I think they're actually very helpful, but they have to also keep in mind it's not just about following the signal, it's your risk and everything else that comes with it. Because if they, literally you can send 10 signals, maybe you're wrong on 3 of them. If they happen to get that wrong one and they go all in, then they think, oh, wow, this is a scam. No, it's not a scam. You're just not doing it the right way.
Yeah, no, 100%.
That's the same thing I was doing before. So that's one thing that I completely changed. I completely changed my mindset. Also, that big transition from gambling to an actual business, I feel like that's super important, because when you start treating this as a business, you see things differently, right? Before getting into a trade now, I'm like, is this a smart business decision?
Yeah.
Right? Should I do this? Is this going to benefit my business? Before, I would say, damn, I want to get into a trade. This is the one, boom, in, lost, right? So now it's like a completely different mindset. But before, without going through all of those struggles and actually looking back and saying, what was I doing wrong? I wouldn't have been where I'm at today, right? So I feel like that's something that for newer traders, it's like you can make mistakes at the beginning. I feel like a lot of people, it's like they call it the tuition, right? The first few months to a few years, you're kind of learning and you're losing money. That's your tuition to becoming a trader. but you also have to learn from those mistakes. You can't continue doing the same thing, which is something that I did. And that's why it took me so long to actually make money, right? I kept doing the same thing, not realizing what was going wrong, thinking that just because, a month had passed that I can come back with 1,000 and make 5,000 in one day, right? Which was
Yeah.
not realistic.
Yeah. That's
So
not, yeah.
that's something that I would recommend to beginner traders. It's like, I see a lot of it in my community. We have a lot of beginner traders, and I tell them every single day, just look, change your mindset. Think of this as a business. Don't want to get into a trade. I don't like trading. I trade because I think, yeah, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
before, I would stick to the chart and find the trade. Now it's like, all right, I sit here and I wait for it to come to me, and I treat this as a business. And that's why I was able to be successful in this whole industry, because otherwise it's maybe one day you'll make 50K, but then you're going to end up losing that 50K right away.
Yeah.
If you continue that path, it's not the right path to go down. So
yeah, and I think that's great advice, because a lot of traders, I
yeah,
mean, and everything you just said, from copying signals, because at the end of the day, I do agree that when it comes to signals, is if you're just taking it and you don't have the right risk management, you're risking, maybe like a little different on one and a different on the next one. Like you said,
right.
it takes that one to kind of blow your account that, is just going to screw you
Exactly.
over, screw up your psychology, make you not really believe in it. And it's really important that someone's, the person that you're following is providing you value, that's showing you why they're actually getting the trade, so that you can follow
Exactly.
it. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah. So you can actually learn from what they're doing and replicate it yourself instead of relying on them to give the signal to you.
yeah, exactly. Because in my opinion,
Getting
I
that
I
sales.
always recommend finding like a group or kind of a mentor or just a
Right.
community that you can bounce ideas off of, that kind of can support you, because it's not easy to start your journey or go through like the
Yeah.
trading game. You know what I'm saying? So having someone there or other people there that have kind of either gone through the journey or also going through the journey is really beneficial, and that's why I kind of love the trading community in
A hundred
general. You
percent.
know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like you
I
said, just
agree.
providing value and making sure that you're actually understanding, or else you're going to stay stagnant and not really grow as a
That's the most
trader.
important part. A
Yeah.
100%. That's the most important part. It's like when you look at a signal and you just take it and expect to make money, even if you're making money, it's still not going to be long term. Because, for example, what if that signal provider or that person you follow just says, you know what, I'm done with trading? What are you
Mm.
going to do now? If you didn't
Yeah.
learn the skill set, then and you can't replicate it yourself,
Mm.
then you're just like, maybe you're making some money, but at the end of the day, how much can you make long term?
Yeah.
And it's not going to be much unless you actually learn it. And don't get me wrong, I feel like trading itself is not as hard as it seems,
Hmm.
but the psychology aspect is way harder.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that's the hardest thing to master, where I'm going to be honest with you, I still have not 100% mastered my psychology to the level that I should be to
Hmm.
basically trade like a robot, right? I should be trading like a robot at this point, and I'm not.
Hmm.
There's still days where I'm like, oh, but I just took a loss, so I want to make that money back. Let me find an, and that's where you fall into the trap and you get back to doing the same things over and over.
Yeah. And that's why
So even to this day, it
yeah.
happens. Yeah,
No, psychology is so important, and that's what kind of
a
what I want
hundred
to kind of
percent.
morph into, is kind of psychology and discipline as well as
Yeah,
mindset. Because at the end of the day, like you said, simple trading, like what you have on your
yeah,
shirt, trading can be simple, guys. If you find a good strategy, or you find a good session, one pair, like whatever it is that like suits you,
right.
you just got to figure it out, and then it'll become simple. You just got to stop overcomplicating it. And that's kind of
Exactly.
one thing I kind of wanted to honestly ask you
Yeah,
was, do you think that starting out, do you think that, because there's so many strategies out there, you know what I'm saying? And people go out
right.
there and try and find so many different strategies.
Yeah.
Would you recommend like getting a strategy and sticking to it until it kind of works, or kind of bounce around till you kind of find one that works for you? Or
So it depends. If it's someone that's just starting out, like in trading, I would say to learn as much as you can.
hmm.
And I don't like demo accounts. So if they're starting out, I would start off with real money, just a very small amount
Hmm.
where you wouldn't be losing a lot of your income or whatever you have saved up. But I would test different strategies and find one that you like, right? I feel like I love the strategy that I use, and that's why I'm able to do it every time, because it's a strategy that I enjoy trading,
Hmm.
right?
That fits
Maybe
you.
someone else is exactly, it fits my trading style, it fits what I'm looking for, everything aligns perfectly. So that's why I'm able to continuously do that strategy. There
Hmm.
may be a trader that likes smart money concepts, right? I haven't even looked into that. I know some basic things about it, but it's not my thing. So I
Hmm.
won't even care about that. So in the beginning, I did test different things and I found the one that I liked the most. But again, the difference is I'm recommending to do it with less money so you won't lose, and you figure it out, without you're always going to lose in the beginning for the most part,
Hmm.
but at least it won't be that much, right? And you're still going to be learning.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
exactly. And
That's
I don't
what's
recommend
important.
demos because bro, on demo, you know what? Everyone's a beast on demo because there's
Yeah,
no feelings involved,
exactly.
you
There's
know?
no feelings. You're not losing
Exactly.
anything.
Exactly.
And that's
So
what, yeah.
we need that like money attachment into it so they can really understand what trading is like because demo trading is not, it's not it.
Yeah, it's not going to push you to where you want to be. You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying?
100%.
But like you said, it also is important to not trade money that you really need. And
Right.
yeah, because once again, start
Don't make my
small.
mistake.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Don't make my mistake.
if you can't trade a smaller account, you can't trade a larger account. So just find one,
100%.
find a strategy, and if you can grow that, maybe then it's when you can start looking into funding programs and then use that money you're kind of compounding to purchase an account, hopefully get funded, and then once again to stick
Exactly.
to your rules. But do you have like a written out pretty strict plan that you follow every single day, certain
Yes.
times? Yeah, that you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I always do 1 to 3 risk to reward minimum.
Hmm.
I trade 3 pairs, either US 30 gold or GBP JPY. I like trading. Again, it depends. I trade US and London for the most part US for because of the time.
Hmm.
But when it comes to that, it's Monday through Thursday. And again, 1 to 3, 1% risk per trade. And if I lose 2 trades, 2 to 3 trades, depending on the week, I won't trade anymore that week.
Okay.
And if I lose one trade, like for example, let's say it's Monday and I take a trade and I lose 1%, I'm done for the day. So
Hmm.
I'll close everything, come back on Tuesday, right? If I lose 2 or 3, I'm done for the week and come back next week.
Yeah, and
That's my plan. Yeah.
that's a really good plan. And we kind of talked about it before about prop firms and how
Yeah.
until those prop firms kind of go away, you're gonna risk their capital. You're not gonna risk your own. Do you
100%.
recommend though to then kind of start eventually morphing over, or do you think prop firms is kind of the way to go and be able to leverage their capital?
Right. So I think from my point of view, as long as they're around, I think that it's better to use a prop firm than to trade your own money. And I also think that if you're a like brand new beginner trader, there's 2 ways to go about it. Either you learn with a live account with very little money and then you go on to a prop firm, or you could do like a prop firm account with like a smaller account and try that because the reason I say that is because of the rules that the prop firm gives you,
Yep.
and that'll give them like some guidance. And if you're learning that from day one and you're like learning those rules, then you'll be set because now you're following the correct way you should trade, right?
Yeah.
No more than 5%, no more than X amount. I think it's 12% for my Forex funds for the whole thing. So if they follow those rules from day one, maybe trading a 10, 25, 50K account, whatever the case may be, then I feel like that's also going to be very helpful down the road because they're already starting off on the right foot.
Yeah, and I totally agree because in my
Yeah.
opinion, I didn't kind of touch on it when you were talking about it, but you did say something that I agree with, which is that prop firms kind of installed that risk management, like the
Right.
rules that they have kind of really helped. And it was the same for me. Like before when I was trading just live capital on like a smaller account, it was, risking kind of
Right.
different percentages and larger percentages of the account, which is like,
Right.
which is like fine if you know what you're doing. People trade differently, but it wasn't until I kind of got into the prop firm route that I was starting to know to risk 1%, to go for risk
Right.
reward, to do certain things, find a strategy, to do A, B, and C that fits how I trade, what fits, what I'm trying to say? Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
No, I agree. I agree.
yeah,
That's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. I really started taking this to the next level once I started doing prop firms
yeah. Um,
because it made you focus no matter what. Otherwise, you'd break the rules and never pass a challenge.
yeah, 100%.
So
I wanted to kind of ask a little bit more about simple trading. So is it
yeah.
like a Discord, the community?
Yeah, so it's a Discord. We have a Telegram.
Mm-hmm.
I try to be as active as I can. I try to help as many people as I can. And the reason for starting Simple Trading was just because I'm gonna be honest, man. When I started trading, that one friend that recommended me to go and do the IML thing,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't like trading, so he quit like right away. He was like, "Oh, I'm done. I'll do something else." He started doing marketing, and I was really the only one that like I knew from my circle that traded and enjoyed trading. Everyone else thought it was a scam,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't want to put money into it. So I feel like if I had a group of people from the start, it would be a lot smoother and I would have learned a lot quicker than doing it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started seeing consistent results, I was, you know what, let me start this group and let me help as many people as I can and share as much knowledge as I can and have a community where if there's any questions, literally like not just myself, but other traders that have years of experience could also help and just help one another, right? That's what I felt like would have been a lot better for me starting in the beginning. And I'm just offering that to newer traders.
Yeah, and I completely agree. That's
Yeah.
literally the exact reason why I started it
Yeah.
because I went through a lot of, hardships at the beginning of trading, and I
Right.
completely agree that having a group or people around me from the
Yeah.
beginning would have helped me a lot. And that's the whole reason why I do this and why I want to try and help as many people as I
Exactly.
can, because once again, this is real. We've seen the results. If you can
Yeah.
get through the hump of, once again, psychology, mindset, stop over risking, find, what kind of trader you are so that you can
Right.
leverage that to then make the money and kind of have the, the lifestyle that you kind of want to have. Because at the end of the day,
Exactly.
that's what a lot of people were, looking for, but does not come easy, as well as it's not a get rich fast
Right.
thing. You know what I'm saying? You
100%.
have to put a lot of into this, and a lot of people get discouraged and, like you said, quit because it's confusing, it's hard, and it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not like either of us got to kind of do it overnight. It
Right.
took, trial
Years.
and error, years and trial and
Years
error.
and a lot of losses,
Mm-hmm.
but it all comes down to the same thing. Once they flip that switch and say, I'm not going to get rich in one day
Mm-hmm.
and I'll treat this as a long-term business, that's when everything is going to click for them. And that's when those newer traders are going to realize what trading really is, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it is a business, right? I do this to make money. I used to do this for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do it to make money. I don't want to trade, but trading makes money, so I'm making money with trading.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it now. Before, it was an addiction where I wanted to trade for fun and I wanted to have that adrenaline of being in a trade. Now it's not the adrenaline, it's the amount of money I can make,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like your mind changes, and the quicker you realize what I just said, the quicker you'll be like on the road to being profitable. 100%,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's great
Because
advice.
don't get me wrong, I know a lot of beginners that enjoy trading, and don't get me, I like trading, I enjoy it, but it's not the same enjoyment that I had before.
Mm-hmm.
Before, I would be chasing that rush that you get from trading, which is the same rush you get from like going to the casino and gambling.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same rush I was chasing before, but it was way easier because it was on my computer and my phone. Now that mindset
Mm-hmm.
is completely different. And
Yeah.
that's like literally that is one of the biggest reasons why everything changed from, first 3 years losing money to then making money and actually continuing to make money, which is the important part.
Yeah, and it just completely helped elevate your success.
100%.
If you could give advice to anyone out there who's kind of going through the beginning of their journey and kind of going through these hardships, what are like 5 kind of advice things you could tell them that you
Right.
think would really help them, not to like say shorten the learning curve because it should take
Right.
a while, but kind of, help them out from the beginning, which they should kind of avoid.
So for beginners, I would say the first thing is to seek help in terms of like a community, or if you're buying a course, get a course from someone. And I would say not to jump around from course to course.
Mm-hmm.
Just focus on one person's course that you like their trading style or you think that they're successful. Join that community, learn as much as you can, be active, and just be a part of that community, and you will learn a lot more. I have a lot of people that are in my community that just sit back and don't interact.
Mm-hmm.
And those are learning, but it's not the same when you're actively like engaged, right? So that's tip number one. Find a community, find a course, find a mentor, and interact with other people within that community. So you can actually like bounce ideas off of each other and kind of learn together. That's the whole point of having a group.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number one. Number two is journaling your trades.
Mm-hmm.
So I recommend they, write down their trades, why they took the trade, what strategy they used, the risk, everything that you can, your feelings when you were taking the trade, after the trade was done, everything. I would write everything down in a journal so you can keep track of what you're making mistakes in and be brutally honest with yourself. And like, when you're journaling, don't say, oh yeah, I felt sad after this trade. Just really say, okay, my mindset was not where it was supposed to be. I was thinking of this, this, and this, and I shouldn't have taken this trade. Let's correct it for the next time. Like, give yourself honest feedback, and journaling is going to help you out a lot too. Focus on risk to reward. That's super, super important.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a good risk to reward. I always say 1 to 3 at least. There's some people that make it work with 1 to 2, 1 to 1. It's up to you, but just find a risk to reward that makes sense to you and it works long term. Don't think short term, think long term. Another thing I would add for number 4 is going to be, again, to treat this as a business
Mm-hmm.
and treat it as like every trade you take is a business move that you're making. And either it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, you simply don't trade, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be in a trade every single day. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to trade. Like, let's say 1 week goes by and you have no trade, you don't trade. That's fine. Don't chase trading. Let the trades come to you. And if you don't trade for a week, 2 weeks, that's fine. You're not going to die.
Yeah,
You'll be back.
exactly.
You'll be back afterwards, right?
Markets aren't leaving.
Exactly. They're going to be here forever. So you have
Yeah.
all the time in the world. Don't rush it. And then step number 5 is just to apply everything that you learn try to be like an octopus, right? I like to like learn as much as I can. Like, let's say I'm in a community and I see this guy said that, this guy said this. I try to like get everybody's like feedback and I make it to like where it would work for me, right? I get everybody's opinion and feedback on things, whatever they're teaching or whatever they're saying, the way they do the charts or technical analysis or trend line, whatever it is. And I start applying that to myself and kind of making my own like perfected technical analysis or whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
So get as much as you can from everybody and then like clump that up into your own thing and, you know, try to perfect it as much as you can. Yeah. It's a process. It's not going to be easy, but it is worth it. And again, if you can do these things early, you're going to save yourself a lot of money and time, which I wish I had someone to tell me when I first started. That's like one of the biggest things.
Yeah,
for sure.
Those are all honestly great advice. Anyone out there, once again, write those down and really strive, because at the end of the day, a lot of people out there watch videos like this and kind of just have it in the background and they don't really apply it. Right. So really apply everything you just said, especially with the journaling thing, is like, take out a whole page, write how you were feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Don't sugarcoat it. It's not like it's out there to the public where everyone's seeing it. Like, be honest with how you were feeling, because at the end of the day, we've said it before, but psychology and that mindset of trading is really,
it's everything.
It's literally everything in this game. So write it down, make sure that your psychology is there. And if it's not there, like you said, take the day off or whatever, you know, come back 100%. Next week. The markets aren't going anywhere. You know, it's really important. But before we kind of wrap it up, I just want to ask, you know, is there anything you kind of want to say? Anyone you want to shout out, or any type of advice, once again, for anyone starting out that's on the beginning of their journey, kind of discouraged in the Forex game or in trading in general? What advice can you give them?
I mean, I would say not to give up, to continue trying. And if you find a strategy that you like, stick to it no matter what.
Believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself no matter what. And then again, try to take care. It's you versus you. Yep. So depending on your mindset, depending on your psychology, that's going to determine your success. So if you're starting out and you're having bad days, just take a break, sit back, analyze what you did, try to perfect it. And at the end of the day, trading, you're going to lose, you're going to win. So you just got to stay consistent and focus in the long term, right? If you have a bad month, but then you have, you know, the year has 12 months. You have one bad month and then you bring it back, and the other 11 months of the year, you were profitable at the end of the year. That's what matters. It doesn't matter what you did this week, this month, or this quarter. What matters is long term. At the end of the year, what did you do? Were you profitable long term? And that's the most important part. So don't focus on the daily. Don't look at Instagram 200K and be like, damn, I want that. Yes, it will come, but it will come with time. And again, if you're a beginner, you're not ready for the responsibility of making 200K. So it takes time to get there and scaling up. I always believe in scaling up. You have to start small and slowly start scaling up, right? Yeah. So that's something that I would 100% recommend, because let's say you're new to trading and you want to get a 300K account. I'm totally for it, right? If you think you can handle it, go ahead. But there's a certain thing with psychology when you're dealing with that much money that it's going to like mess you up. So I would recommend starting small and slowly scaling up till it gets to the point where you're like 300K to 100K. It's the same thing. It's all percentages. Don't look at the money, look at the percent. Yep. So that's something I would 100% recommend.
Awesome, bro. Well, once again, Ralph, thank you so much for coming on here, guys. If you guys want to get
so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, bro. If you guys want to get a hold of Ralph, I'm gonna leave his links in the description, his Instagram and his YouTube channel. Give him a follow. I hope to get you on in the future soon, bro. This is a great conversation. You dropped a bunch of gems, guys. So make sure you comment, like this video, and comment something that you learned, because he honestly, once again, dropped a lot of gems for you guys. And once again, thank you so much for coming, bro. Stay tuned to the next podcast, guys. We'll have them coming out soon, every 2 weeks. Once again, Ralph, thank you for being here, bro.
Thank you so much, man.
Love you guys.
It was
Peace.
a pleasure.
Yes,
thank
sir.
You, man. Peace.
The truth.